I'll tell a story about my relationship with those three emotions in a moment, but I need to kind of take you back in time a little bit to the beginning of my Ironman career. For those of you who are not intimately knowledgeable about the sport of triathlon and Ironman, the Ironman triathlon is sort of like the World Cup of triathlon. It's the big event that pretty much anybody who is trying to do something big in the sport tries to get to that race. My goal ended up being that I wanted to win that event, and it starts with a 2.4-mile swim in the open ocean off the coast of Kona on the big island of Hawaii. You get out of the water, you bike 112 miles along the windy west side of that big island, and if you haven't seen the west side of the big island before, you will never see it in a tourist brochure because, you know, it's not beautiful, lush, tropical palm trees. It's black, desolate lava, and it's very stark. And then after that, you get off your bike and you have to run a marathon, 26.2 miles. To win it, I had to swim that swim in about 50 minutes, bike 112 miles, averaging about 25 miles an hour, which is actually what Lance Armstrong had to average to win the Tour de France that last time. Then get off my bike at 12:30 in the afternoon, about the hottest point of the day on the hottest of all the Hawaiian Islands, run a marathon averaging 6 minutes and 10 seconds every single mile. Whoa. If I could do that, I'd be the champion, but anything less and somebody else was going to walk away with the title. Certainly it was not an easy task, as you can imagine. And often one of the biggest challenges that we have for achieving those big dreams is living what we ask for, isn't it? You know, we have in our minds the time frame that something's going to happen in, and the real world often conspires to make that time frame stretch a lot longer than we ever thought we'd have the capability of stretching to. Well, that happened to me in my sport, and that is one of the keys in our book, living what you ask for. There were hundreds of triathletes around the world who wanted to win the Ironman, but there was only a handful who were willing to live what that goal was going to ask them to do to accomplish it, to live what they were asking for, to be the best in the world. The first 6 years that I did the Ironman, I came up short of that goal of winning. One year I was in the lead by 12 minutes, thinking that, yeah, I've got this thing in the bag. When I came off the bike, I ran the first 10K through the town of Kona, you know, high-fiving everybody because the next guy behind me was 12 minutes back. Well, when I got out on the lava field to run the bulk of the marathon, 20 miles, by myself, out there with the heat and the wind and the sun beating down on you, my body melted, and I ended up walking. I ended up in second place that year, and this guy who had become my nemesis passed me, a guy named Dave Scott. And Dave Scott was for sure the best Ironman distance triathlete in the mid-'80s, early mid-'80s. He, during his career, won the race 6 times. But anyway, that year he beat me. The following year I came back, I was more patient. I waited until the half marathon point. He and I were together in the lead of the race. I pulled away with 10 miles to go. I was told that Dave Scott, the best guy in the world, was 5 minutes behind me, and I thought, there's no way that guy's going to catch me this time. So I began to assemble the acceptance speech that I was going to give the following night. Wrong thing to do. 2 miles later, I was walking again. He passed me, and he went on to win his 6th title that year. The following year, I came back. Dave didn't race, but I got 3 flat tires. Probably hit the only 3 pieces of glass on the entire 112 miles of biking. What was going on? It was like the world was conspiring against me to hold me back from winning this goal, and I was achieving that goal. I was sort of becoming cynical, and I really had a bad attitude. And I had all of those 3 emotions really raging around inside my heart that Brant just talked to you about and gave you that exercise to help release them out of your being, out of your soul. I was jealous of Dave Scott. He had won that race 6 times. I was at 0 for 6. I was beating him everywhere else in the world. I was winning other races around the world, but I couldn't do it at the Ironman in Hawaii. I was jealous of his success, and I thought, I want that. You know, that feeling, I want what he has. Well, when we're trying to put all of our efforts into a positive direction, wanting what he has, that's not going to be a positive energy, is it? No way. I was angry because I felt like I had done what it was going to take to win. I was actually training more than Dave Scott. And I thought, if I'm out training the guy, why am I not winning? But there was something deep inside that gave him extra strength. His character was strong, and mine shattered every time I got out there on the lava field. So I was angry, and I was certainly fearful because I didn't think I was ever really going to be able to do it. And at this point in my career, 6 years into it, I'd put it out there to the world that I wanted to become the Ironman champion. You know, what happens when we put our big dreams out there to the world, everybody knows it, and we fall short? That can create a lot of fear, can't it? You know, put everything on the line and fall short. There's only going to be one person that wins that race every year. So in 1989, as I prepared for my 7th Ironman, I realized I need to race for different reasons and find something different to get me beyond those emotions that were holding me back. And I realized that I had been racing to try and beat Dave Scott. In 1989, I shifted that to trying to have my best race. And that freed me up. It didn't matter what Dave did. It didn't matter what the other competitors did. I went there to have my best race. I didn't know if it would be the type of race that could win a championship, but I was certainly willing to try. And that brings me to one of our other tools, the keys that we talk about in our book, and that's to know and set your quest. Now, this isn't necessarily, you know, laying out your business plan for your work or your life, but more taking time to step back from all of the things that you put your effort and energies into and ask yourself, what is it about these things that I'm doing that has meaning in here in my heart for me? It doesn't have to be a big, complicated answer. It doesn't even have to be anything that intellectually makes sense. It might just be that I just want to try. I just want to see what I can do. Prior to that moment where I did that myself, I was trying to beat Dave Scott and all of the other guys out there, and it wasn't working. And I realized that's really not what has meaning to me in here. What really has meaning to me is to go out there and have the best race that I can. Walking the marathon is not my best race, is it? Know and set your quest. What is it that has meaning to you inside about the things that you're putting your energies into? So maybe think about that for one moment. Where do you put a lot of your energy? And what is it, when you take all of the rest of the world out of it, why does this have meaning for you in here? You can share maybe just one or two thoughts about those things that have meaning to you that you're putting a lot of your efforts into. Maybe it has something to do with your work, or maybe it has something to do with your family, or a change in your personality, or a change in your way of approaching the world that has meaning to you to try to change. And that's what Fit Soul, Fit Body is about, to continually change and evolve. So maybe share one thought with some of your neighbors there, and then I'll tell you the rest of that story about 1989.